We hit Barakhu. Now, let me explain something too as you're looking at it. I've slowly done this to you. We'll read these words and everything else, and then I'll explain a little bit of something so you might understand. We hit, all right, we hit Barakhu. Barakhu. We hit, see that we hit there? Almost every time you see a tau in Hebrew, that letter that looks like this, okay, the tau. If it's got this little bit in the middle of it, that means it's hard or double. T sound. If it doesn't have that, it's a TH sound. All right, a TH sound. Now, it is not real prevalent, but et in the modern Hebrew is et, and it's real sharp. All right. But we hit baraka. We hit baraka. Barakhu, that is. And then Vazaraka. And then call. Call is all. Remember that. Call is all. Call. And then go ye. Haaretz. Now, here we have another one that's different from the modern Hebrew. The way you would say this in modern Hebrew is it would be haaretz. But it's not haaretz. All right, it's haaretz. It's got a T, sate sound, TS sound. And then Egev, Asher. Now this is a word here that you're going to see so much of, Asher. It's like a little relative pronoun, all right? Which or witches, sometimes that. Shamata. Bikali. And they shall bless themselves. They shall bless themselves. Third person, corporal, plural, if they are, wow, consecutive, perfect. All right. They shall have blessed themselves in your seed, all. All right. They shall have blessed themselves in your seed. Now this word Barak, this is, the president's name is Barak. That's the same word here. That's where it came from, is this word right here. They shall bless themselves in your seed. Where do we get the end from? Where does the end come from? On the front of that word. Vazaraka. Where is it? The baby. All right, that's in. That's the preposition in. Page 88 and page 89 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs. Okay? All nations, go ye. All right? Go ye. All nations. Haaretz. The earth. All right? All nations, and you can put a practical substance in. All nations in the earth or upon the earth. Okay? That's the idea of it. All nations shall have blessed themselves. How? How shall all nations be blessed? By the seed of Abraham. Two ways, physical and material. All right. Remember, Brother Abe, you asked me a question at the end of last week's class. You said, what is the significance of the stars and the sand? I will make your seed as the stars of heaven and as the sand of the sea. Remember what the sand of the sea means? What is the sand of the sea? Abraham's seed according to the sand of the sea. That's his physical, material seed. That's his real ones that are his lineage. Almost all of us, basically, if you go back 100 generations, you'll find out there somewhere along the line you were related to Abraham, because he had 3 wives. All right? He had a Hamite wife, he had a Shemite wife, and a Japhethite wife. And those people mixed hundreds and hundreds of times through the millennia. All right? Now the stars of heaven, your seed shall be as the stars of heaven. That's his spiritual seed. Nearly, I think everybody in this room is a spiritual son of Abraham. Spiritual heir, a spiritual seed of Abraham. The stars of heaven is a spiritual seed. The sand of the sea was a physical descendant. The stars of heaven is a spiritual seed, okay? And all nations shall bless themselves in your seed. And nearly all nations in the world, they are preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. I said nearly all. You can't speak the name Christian in Saudi Arabia, especially in that holy city there. What's that holy city there? Mecca. You, if you're a Christian, you will not see seen in that city, or you will be a dead man. It'll kill you. No grace period. No hands and buts, you're dead. Christ, all nations have blessed themselves in allowing the gospel to be preached in those nations. They blessed themselves when they did it. All right? All the nations of the earth, because Asher, which you have listened to my voice. All right? You have listened to my voice. Shamata. Shamata. And look at that shamata. In modern Hebrew, that would be samata. That is shamata. That's a SH sound. All right? When you got the pitchfork-looking thing like this, that's shin, that's sin. That's sin and shin. All right? That's the difference. All right? Now, modern Hebrew will give you two different letters for that. They'll have two letters for that, and they won't pronounce either one of them right.
So the one dot is...
When the dot's on the right-hand side, it's a shin. When it's on the left-hand side, it's a sin.
Okay.
All right? There you go. Now, we've been just reading this, but I thought I'd just show a little bit of this. Is it all right? I'm not slowing you down, boring you back too much to death. Am I not listening? You already know this, don't you? All right. Genesis 12 and 3 and 18 and 18 and 19. Genesis 22 and 3 and 10 and 26 and 5. Acts 3:25. Galatians 3, 8 and 16 are cross-reference to this verse. All right. That word again there means because or consequence. All right. Now in the Greek it says kai in eulogeithesonte, and they shall bless upon themselves, and they shall be blessed upon themselves in the seed entos spermata, in the seed su panta ta ethne, taste gates. In the seed of you, all the ethne, all the nations, what we get a word ethnic from, all the nations, taste gates of the earth. All right? All the nations of the earth will be blessed in your seed and be blessed by your seed. The spiritual seed of Abraham is supposed to be doing what? Preaching. Preaching. Every nation that allows the preaching of God's Word in them are going to bless themselves. They're going to bless themselves. They're going to bless every person in that nation. Tother tu sarku. The well of the old. Wayashev. Avraham. El. Ni-aro. Can you say that? Ni-aro. Wayagamu. Wayeliku. Yachda. El. Be'er. Shiva. Wayeshev. Abraham. Be there. All right. Be there. Shiva. And return. Trace back the steps. And return. Third person masculine singular, vowel consecutive and perfect. And returned and kept on return to Abraham unto his use. All right? Remember when he told these boys, these guides that he had hired or else owned them or whatever, he told them, my son and I will go up there and we shall return. He knew that he was supposed to go up there and offer him as a sacrifice, but he said, we shall return, and did he? Yep. He didn't have to kill him. He didn't have to be Anastasia. He didn't have to be resurrected. In his use, and they, Waya Kumu, and they rose up and kept on rising up, third person masculine plural, how, while consecutive and perfect. They rose up and kept up. They didn't go back to bed. You don't want to get ready to come to church tonight. I just hardly could get that girl off of that sleeping couch she sleeps on. I kept trying to get her up, and she kept saying, I don't want to go. What you do is you have to get them up and keep them up. All right? Get them up and keep them up, and that's exactly what Abraham did. He got them up and kept them up and kept them going and herded them along. And herded them along. She was tired. And went and walked. Halak. Waye Elaku. And they walked and kept on going, third person masculine plural, Cal. And remember, in the Gesenius Hebrew grammar, Cal is going to be like that, and some of the others is like that. That's a Cal stem. Cal or cowl. Stem. Cowl stem. Very common stem in Hebrew. And he went and kept on going in a union together. Unto as a group, as a tribe, unto El Better. Better means what? Well. It means a flowing well, beer, and then Shiva. A Shiva means abundant, and it also means oath. All right, Beersheba. Now, how did this place get the name of Beersheba? Because Abraham had made an oath there, so it's a well of the oath. It's the abundant flowing well of the oath. Well, it's on page 92 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs, and Sheba is on page 988. And they dwelled, and they kept on dwelling. Third person masculine singular, cow, wow, consecutive, and perfect. And if you look down there, it says page 442 and page 444. It's page 442 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs, and page 444 in Kohler and Baumgartner, and that's that big double lexicon. Abraham. What's Abraham mean? Exalted father of a multitude. Exalted father of a multitude. Now in Arabic, they trace the root of Abraham's name to Hebrew. All right, which means friend. Hebrew. Abraham. So they trace it, the Arabs, they trace it to the word friend. Okay? But it actually in Hebrew means exalted father of a multitude. At Be'er, well, Sheba of the oath. In Greek it says Theer to Orku. Orku means to fence yourself in. Okay? Orku means to fence yourself in. When you take an oath, you fence yourself in to tell the truth. Whether you're on a witness stand, in court, or wherever. When you take an oath, you fence yourself into taking the truth. When you sign your name, you're taking an oath. Do you know that? When you sign your name on a contract for a house or a car or whatever it is, you're taking an oath. All right? Taking an oath. You're fencing yourself in and saying that you're going to pay for that thing. All right? What's the next word here? This is an unusual word. Wahi, thank you. Young lady, got A plus for that. You said that just right. Wahi. All right, what does that mean? And became. All right. And in Genesis 1 and 2, we have a form of Wahi there. In Genesis 1 and 2. Barashi, Bara, Elohim, Et Hashemayim, we have Haaretz. And then it says what? Haaretz, Hatiyah. And that's the form of this third person feminine singular. All right? And the earth, she became formless. This is the word became, and became after. What it means is it changes from one state to another. All right? It means a change, a transition, a change. Okay? I want you to understand that word. See, modern Hebrew doesn't get this. They don't understand this at all. But in biblical Hebrew, it means a state of change, a state of transformation. All right? In every place in Genesis, the first chapter, and in Genesis, the second chapter, where it says, and the earth became this, and the earth became that, and God saw the earth, and that it became good. All right? It says the earth became formless and void. Isaiah says that God didn't create the earth to be formless and void.
So John 1:14 or John 1:14 would be that if it were in Hebrew.
That's right. If it was in Hebrew, if they had translated it correctly, they would have done that. And in Hebrew, now when we did the first 41 chapters of the book of Genesis, I went to different places. You remember that, Cindy, where I went to different places? And I said there, in Genesis 1 and 2, it says Ain in Greek. The Septuagint says Ain. Ain would be kept on being. Third person singular, imperfect, indicative, active. But that's not what should have been there. It should have been a genitive. All right? And that means it became or she became. In John 1:14, it should have been the same. Now, in other places in the Hebrew text where they translated it into the Greek, they did put a genitive there in many places. And I showed, 3 or 4 different places where they had done that when I taught that, right in that area.
I started that church this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about became, you were talking about, okay, God created the heavens in the beginnings.
In one of the beginnings.
Okay, so when God created the angels and the spirits, and then...
that was one of the beginnings.
Right. And Lucifer was given, tell me if I'm wrong, Lucifer was given control of the earth at that time?
Over the material, I think the whole universe.
And he destroyed it.
Yes.
So that was when it became formed.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, right up here, Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28, Satan's path. God created Lucifer. He created a perfect being. Perfect being, but that being had a volition. All spirits, all angels, mankind, as far as I can even tell, animals have volition. Have you ever tried to make an animal like you? And it didn't? Sometimes? Sometimes they don't. Nothing you do. Either they do or they don't. They have volition. They have a certain amount of volition. Satan, now we know that there are millions of angels, I guess. Millions and millions of spirits. Now, the Bible says 1/3, 33% of the angelic and spiritual forces went with Lucifer when he rebelled. Isaiah 14, 12 through 15, and Ezekiel 28, 8 through 19. Okay? That happened. When Satan rebelled, the area that he was over, this earth, he completely demolished it. Now, let's just think about God for a few minutes. God knows the beginning from the end of it. All right, in eternity past, He created in beginnings, Barashit, in beginnings, He created, first of all, before He did anything else, any material creation or spiritual creation, no, He wrote our names in the Lamb's Book of Life. Because He foresaw all this. Then He created angels and spirits. Then He created material things. Now, angels and spirits are just as tangible Tangible as what? That's which may be touched. They're just as tangible as, and as concrete as any physical thing. They're real, okay? But they're in a different realm. In a different realm, okay? A different dimension. There are angels in this room. There are spirits in this room right now. We cannot see them, but I can guarantee you they are here. Okay? They're listening. They're watching. Some of them are protecting us. Okay? In every one of these beginnings, He created spirits. He created the physical universe, which is all those stars and stuff out there that you see. He created all of that. He put all of it in order. He created the space to put them all in. And where did all of it come from? Where did it all come from? From Him. It came from Him. It didn't come out of nothing. It came from God. Now, the Latin Church and the Catholic Church will say it's ex nihilo, but it's not out of nothing. That which we see, that which we see came from that which is not seen. And that which is not seen is talking about there is God. In the book of Hebrews, it tells us this. Okay? And that's a beautiful thing. It came from God. All things came from God. Even the spirit realm came from God. All things. God didn't create man from the dust of the ground, but He created him from what? From the same elements that He created the dust of the ground. Man was a primary creation of God. He didn't take dust and make man, but He made man as He made dust. And then He breathed into him the breathings of life. Okay? Beautiful. These are all beginnings. When Lucifer rebelled, he became Satanos, Satan. He became Satan. He became the evil one, the liar, the murderer. And he took 1/3 of the angels with him. And I'm going to tell you something. The God of this age, the little God of this age is Satan. He's powerful, people. Look at what he's doing to this world. If you don't think how every storm, every death, everything in this world, Satan is the author of it. All the wars, everything. Now, you go back and you see all of these things happening. You see how all of it comes together. And God created Lucifer, knowing that He would do what He did. And He created an original creation that had a lot of vegetation on it and a lot of animals on this earth. There was a lot of animals on this earth. Now, He allowed Satan to destroy this. We know, I've drilled oil wells. How many of you have been out in the oil field? Anybody? You can drill out there, take core drilling, and down there, a mile deep, there's clamshells and stuff, and bones, 2 miles deep in the ground. There's oil down there. How did oil get there? When God created the original heavens and the earth, He put all this on there, knowing that when Satan would rebel, he would turn into oil. It would turn into things that man would use in space and time now. Not only did he create this, that would become these great pools of oil, where in the world are a whole bunch of them over there? Right under that Arabian desert all over the place, over the Middle East. And He knew that mankind would gravitate there to some of the best oil in the world over there. But they'd gravitate right over there, and they would fight over it, and that's where He would bring His Armageddon together. Do you see how He laid the plans out? Before their evil little minds could even think of what they were going to do, He said in history past that they were going to do this. That's what happened. God didn't make it happen. God didn't create evil. He didn't create Satan to become evil. He didn't create the evil thoughts in your minds. He didn't do this. But He allowed Satan to have the choice. How in the world could God ever get any glory from anything, any created thing, if it didn't worship Him by personal volition? It would only be a robot. And you can take people can take robots. There's a very smart man right there, Brother Abe. He's with computers and things like that. Work on computers. You can make a computer say something good to you. You can make it say, I love you. You could make smiley faces all over and try to hug you, and you might even make a machine that would hug you. But you know what you just did? You just made a machine that would hug you. It doesn't have a volition. It just does what it's programmed to do. Hyper-Calvinism is like that. There's a problem with that. There's no volition. Man is not a robot. Spirits are not robots. They have volition. And God did not create them evil. He did not create things to be damned. Things damn themselves. That's the way it is. This is beautiful when you start studying the Word of God. Then you see how beautiful God is, and how fantastic and how loving He is. That He wanted to share all of this that He made. He's going to share it with you for all eternity. And every angel, every spirit that would follow Him by their will can in some way minister with and glorify God and share in the glory. I guarantee you, I would rather be an obedient angel following the Lord around and serving His servants than over here in this lake of fire, screaming and yelling forever. It just doesn't make any sense, but they're doing that. That's what's going to happen. All right. 22 and verse 20.
So if, okay,
Yes.
hypothetical.
Yes.
Okay, way over there. Did God make it now after that there's no... Because we remember the other night I asked you about forever, if you'd ever thought about how forever is.
Forever is a long time.
Okay, so like there's no ever, any chance, any possibility ever of crossover between those two worlds?
No.
Okay.
You mean hell?
Hell and heaven, yeah.
No.
Okay.
They're totally separated. Hell is file 13. That's a garbage pit.
Right.
Jesus said that Himself. That's the garbage pit. That goes to the garbage pit. That's where the garbage goes, is in hell. You don't want to wait till you witness people to say, "Are you garbage? Are you going to be in heaven?" Well, garbage. And that garbage lasts forever. Where the worm, where the soul dies not, where the maggot didn't die. They burned that garbage pit forever. They kept the fire going there to kill maggots and flies all the time, but they just kept on multiplying. That's the way hell's going to be like that. That's terrible to think about that. That's a bad place. You don't want to go there. One time I preached on hell in the church one time, and they like to run me off. This was too catastrophic. It was too shocking, traumatized. The clientele. It's hard because we have forefathers and foremothers that are there. We know some of them are, and that's not a nice thing to think about. Sometimes you don't know. You just hope they're not there. You just hope that they have come to a saving knowledge of the Lord somewhere along. Brother Harry.
Now, you said before everything was, God created everything. He put everybody's name in the last book.
Yes, that's what they say, because he's omniscient, isn't he?
Yeah. But now, can a person's name be added later on?
If a person's name could be added on this side of eternity, then God didn't know everything. Didn't he? Then He wouldn't be God, would He? For God to be God, He must be what? Omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. He must be all powerful, all knowing, and all present. Brother Don.
But you got to be careful too, because it doesn't mean that a person is born damned.
No.
To hell.
That's one thing I said. God doesn't make people to be damned, nor things that He didn't create angels to be damned. He created angels with a volition that could damn themselves. He created hell for the devil and his angels. After, probably, they sinned. Now all of them aren't in hell. Yet, are they? There are.
The really bad ones.
Huh? They're not in hell yet, are they?
No, they're in
There are some angels that are so bad and some spirits that are so bad they have to be held in jail.
yeah.
They have to be incarcerated in what they call the bottomless pit. which may be a place going to hell. It may be a doorway or a hallway to hell. We don't know all about it, but we know that all that's going to be thrown into the lake of fire in the end. Hell, Hades, and Sheol today are the place of departed spirits. All of Sheol and Hades will be put here in the end time. Okay? Ready to go on a little further now? Did you have fun playing? All right. All right. Let's get Brother A.
God made everything is very powerful
Yes.
for our life
Mm-hmm.
and it impacts our life.
Yes.
But because of just shamatha, this kind of belief,
What?
shamatha, because Abraham's seed will be blessed because of Abraham's shamatha.
Uh-huh. All nations will be blessed. Will be blessed. Those that listen will be blessed. Those that hear will be
So
blessed.
only
Huh?
that activity, like that act, just listening made him blessed.
Shamatha. We get our word. What word comes from Shamatha? What New Testament? Simeon. All right, Simon. One who hears, one who listens. Those that hear, those that obey will be blessed. Those that listen, those that obey will be blessed. Did I answer your question? Shamatha. Those that hear and obey. Hear and obey. I love the way he brings songs. Every song that he sings on Sunday morning has a message in it. Hear and obey. Hear and obey.
So God wants us to listen to
That's right.
His voice.
Yep. He wants us to listen. And he tries to get all men to listen. Some aren't persuaded, are they? Apatheia, not persuaded. Some are not persuaded. Some are persuaded to follow Satan. Look at all those that are persuaded to follow Satan. There are people that believe that Satan is going to outdo God. Did you know that? I know people. I was married to one of them. That thought that Satan was going to outdo God and that she was so powerful. If she worshipped him, that she could do anything and use and manipulate people. She told me.
They can.
Huh?
I mean, they can't outdo God, but they can.
They can manipulate. They can abuse. They have spiritual powers. Satan will give you a little. You ever seen anybody have spiritual powers? You worked in the prison system, brother. There's a bunch of them in there. A bunch of them in the prison system. Boy, I mean, there's a whole lot of them out there. There's a whole bunch of them on this side of the bars out there. We can run into them in life. That happens. I think it's a testing. That woman told me, she said, if God loved you, he said, God hates you, or he wouldn't let you marry me. That I'm evil. I guarantee you she was. She is. But God loved me too.
That's not me.
She'll slip off the wagon every now and then, but she's all right.
I had to set the record straight.
People are evil. Some people believe that Satan has tremendous power, so much power in the world, that in the end that he's going to outdo God. And you look at it, for thousands of years, mankind's been going on. He's been working, bro. I can tell you something. He's working. But we know that God is going to overcome him. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. One day we won't have to put up with him or his imps, or those that have been born of Satan. Wahi, Asharei. And see that word, see that chat there? Asharei. It's not Ahare. In modern Hebrew it would be Ahare, but it is Asharei. That little guttural throat sound. Hadabarim. Right? Ha-eleh. Why? Yig. Why? Yig. God. That little short word has got a lot of letters in it, doesn't it? Why, Yigad. Li Abraham, Lemor. Lemor. Hene, Yalada, Milcah, Dom, He, Banim, Li, Nahor, Achika. Go back and look at this now. And became after the recorded things, the things that happened, the different events. That's words comes from Devar, remember? Look down Devar. Look down there, Devar, page 144 in Davidson. All right? Mm-hmm. Page 210 and 12 in Brown Driver's Bridge. The equivalent in the Septuagint is Remata Tatu, the things spoken, or the things that happened, the events that happened. All right? Ha is a definite article, page 206, in Brown Driver's Bridge, and ha ele is these things. All right, ele. And then why Yigad, and it was told, third person managed to sing the Hithel wow consecutive recurring. It was told and kept on being told to Abraham. Le is like a preposition in it. To, le, page 515 through 17. To Abraham, lemor, saying, lemor. See that word? That comes from amar too. The root of that is amar. Same thing as Wayomer that your little girl talked about. What's that little girl's name?
Hannah.
Hannah. All right. You tell Hannah I missed her tonight.
Okay.
That Wayomer, is from the same word as Amer, lemor. Okay. Behold, Hene, she has borne. She has borne. She has borne or has birthed. All right. That comes from Yalad. Third person feminine singular, Cal perfect. She has birthed Milcah. Water down in my heart hammers me. Takes me a moment to recover. Milcah, counsel. Dom also, he, she. By the way, if she, he, or it right there. Oh, third personal pronoun, nominal adjective.
So he, either she or it?
Yeah, he sure is. But it's here, it's she. All right? Banim. Now in Greek, you would have alte, auto, or autos. Okay? And here, it's just one word. Just kind of lumps them all into one. Okay, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a gender in it, okay? Because we know from the sentence what it's going to be. Banim, sons. That comes from Ben, doesn't it? I had a friend, a Hebrew guy one time, his name was Ben Susan. Ben Susan means what? Son of Susan. Ben Jordan, son of Jordan. All right? And then Li Nahor. All right? Nahor. Nahor means piercer or slayer. Achika, your brother. The brother of you. 22:21. 22:21. Here we have that word. How do you say that one? Et. Got a TH sound in et. What is the Greek equivalent? Ace. What is the grammatical rule? Extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. In other words, somewhere along here, there's going to be some action driven to the next word. Et us. All right. Et us. Be korol. All right? We et. Buzz. Achi. We et. Kenuel. Avi. Aram. Okay. F on page 84 and 85 in Brown Driver and Biggs. Uz. Uz starts with an omega. All right, omega, Uz, which means strong or firm. Uz means strong or firm. Page 734 in Brown Driver and Briggs. His firstborn, Bikoro, his firstborn. And we et. Now, in this and, we et here, the and is in the with. All right? That's the and. And then we don't translate the et except that we know that action's going. Action is flowing. Okay? And buzz. More action. Gave forth, she birthed Uz and buzz. Buzz means contempt. Buzz means contempt. Achi, his brother. Weet and Kemuel. Kemuel, it is Kamul, Kappa, Alpha, Mem. No, Mu. Get my Greek and Hebrew mix-up sign. It's Kamou, Eta and Lambda. Kamul, which means God stands up or rises. God stands up or rises. That's what Kamau means. And then father of Aram. Aram means higher exalted, and this is Syrian. Syria. It is Syrion. Syron in the Septuagint. Syron or Syrian. God stands up. Look at that word, Kemuel. Kemu, that means God stands, stands, and then El on the end of it is God. Stands God. Stands up God. Now let's look at 22:22. Weet. Chesed. Weet. Hazol. Weet. Pildash. Weet. Yidloth. Weet. Bethuel. All right. Go back and look at this now. Now, this old gal have a lot of kids. My great-great-great-grandfather had 9 kids. 9 children. His first wife was 14 years older than him, and he had 3 kids for her. Then his second wife was a whole bunch younger than him. He was 66 and she was 14. And they had 6 kids. A lot of them. 9 kids. This guy right here is having a lot of kids. Weet. And Chesed. Chesed. What do you think that word means? Chesed. It comes from Kazoth. That's the Greek, Zoth. Chesed. It means kindness or loving kindness. Kindness or loving kindness. Blessed. Loving kindness. That's a good name for a child. That would be Charity for a girl. One of the modern names for that would be Charity for a girl. Charity or love. All right. All right. Chesed. Weet. Hazo. 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 It is Alpha, Zeta, Alpha, Omega in Greek, and it means vision or seer. Vision or seer. Someone that can see ahead or have a vision. And Pildash. Pildash. Phillips in the word Phillips in Greek, Phillips or Philos, and it means flame of fire. Flame of fire. Someone's flammable. Well, either this person had an exceptional, brilliant demeanor, or might have been have a short fuse. I don't know. Feel that. And Jidloth. Jidloth. Jidloth means melting away. Melting away. And we have Bethuel. Bethuel means dweller of God. Bethuel. Bethuel. Dweller of God. You, Bethuel, Gilad, Het, Rivkah, Shemana, Elah, Yalidah, Milcah, Nahor, Achi, Abraham. And Bethuel begat, or had begotten, is what it actually says, third person masculine singular, cal perfect, had begotten. You might change that a little bit, because it's in the perfect tense. He had begotten. He had begotten ravishing. Rebekah. Rebekah. That means ravishing. It means to tie or to bind. It means to lead. One whose beauty leads others. Her beauty leads people. Beautiful. Beauty. Her beauty was so great that it would tie and bind people. The word here means lariat or rope. It means lead rope. It means lead halter. And it goes back into Hebrew, and it means a calf that's tied in a stall. So this girl, Rebekah, captures. Her name means captivating. Okay? Or captured. Because they would capture a calf and put it in a stall and feed it in a stall. This is what they call a fattened calf. The fatted calf. Alright? So that name Rebekah goes, Rivkah, goes all the way back to lead rope, halter, to tie in the body. And then we have the word Shemanah, which means 8. These she had born. She had born 8 children. Milcah. Milcah means what? What is her name then? Counsel. 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 To Nahor. To Nahor, Achi. Le Nahor. What does Nahor mean? Piercer. To pierce. Right? One who pierces or one who strikes. He might have been a great hunter or something. I don't know. Brother, Achi Abraham. Alright? That word Rivkah there. Well fed. Ensnaring. It means prosperity. Gesenius says on page 755 it means to snare with beauty. Page 674 in Davidson's book tells you about that same word. And begat Rebekah. Rebekah is pretty important there. She's going to show up later. All right? We said all of that to just point your attention to Rebekah. All right? Rebekah. You feel log Saul. All right? You feel log Shaw. Actually, it should be Shaw. I say H sound, not Saul. You see, it's got a shawl. You fill a large shawl. You shima. Ruma. Wataled. Dom. He. Et. Tivak. All right. Wiet. Da. Cham. Wiet. Hach. Ash. Wiet. Ma. Kam. And the concubine of him, the concubine. Now, a concubine is a what? She's a wife. That's a wife. She's a wife. She's legally his wife. When David's son, Absalom, David had a lot of wives. But he had some of them they called concubines. What's the difference between a concubine wife and a wife? What is it? Remember?
One inherit part of the estate.
Okay, the wife, the legal wife, not the concubine, her children, the children of the wife, the preeminent wife, her children inherit part of the father's estate. The concubine children do not. They have no legal heirship. Their children, that's all. And they would give them gifts and everything, but Abraham gave gifts to his other children, but who was his heir? Isaac. Isaac was his heir. Isaac had Jacob and Esau. The heir was Jacob, not Esau. Jacob got some stuff, but Esau got some stuff, but Jacob was the heir. All right. And concubine of him, and name Rumah. Rumah, in modern language, by the way, it means coral or pearl. Coral or pearl. In modern language, a modern name for Rumah would be Margaret or Margarita. Margaret or Margarita, which means pearl. Okay? Wataled, and she bore and kept on boring also. I mean, she kept on having more kids. Also, Gom, she, there's that little third personal pronoun there, and she, F, sign with the direct object, which you don't translate, but it just means what? Actions going the other way. She bore Tebah. Tebah, all right? Which means it's toad in Greek. Toad. Why did they call this guy Toad? Tebah. Why did they call him Toad? Huh?
Don't throw out.
No. Because he was thick. Thick. He was thick. Thick. Heavy. Fat. Thick. All right. That's his name, means thick. Fatty Arbuckle. You ever hear of that actor named Fatty Arbuckle? That was my relative on my step-grandfather's side. He was Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. And my grandfather's step-grandfather's name was Roscoe Russell, which was his uncle. All right, you go up to Lone Pine, you go in the area in there, and you'll see some films in there that has Fatty Arbuckle there. That's Toad. That's the name Toad right there, which means thick. And used to, if somebody was thick, they were considered that they had a lot of strength. Where are the sumo wrestlers? Where are they? The sumo wrestlers. Japan, aren't they? Japan. The sumo wrestlers, sumi wrestlers, what do you call them? What do they look like? Pretty thick, aren't they? They're thick. They eat a lot to be strong because they think that the strength is in the stomach. So they really get real heavy, and that's the term right here. That's what that means. I'll carry the word. Keep on. Thick like a toad. Thick. Toads are thick, aren't they? Little toads, aren't they? I like little toads. We take care of our toads when we go our place out there in the summertime. I'll send Marilyn out in front, or I'll walk out in front in front of the car, and we'll straight chase those little toads away because they're eating a lot of bugs. Man, those are things like bug killers. We protect our little toads because they are thick. Those little rascals eat a ton of bugs every night. And the more bugs they eat, the thicker they are. All right? So that's what this word means, thick. A little suman wrestler. All right? We had gacham. Gacham means to set on fire with a flame. Gacham. Ga'in is the Greek word, ga'in. And tachash. This is a unusual word, tachash here. 1065 in Brown Driver Briggs, and every one of you have the name, the page number where you go look them up, okay? In Brown Driver Briggs. Okay, this is tokos. Now this tachash, it means leather. Have you ever seen anybody's face look like leather? This is no leather face, leather neck. All right, this is the one that looked like leather. He had a real strong countenance, and his name came from an animal, they think, that they used to make the tent, like the tabernacle. That skin of that animal that they made the tabernacle out of was so big, the animal was so big that they could make one complete skin out of him. This is what the Hebrew lexicographer said. This word right here, tashash. Tokos, this word. It means leather, or it means that thing, the seal skin, like on the tabernacle, whatever that large animal was. It says badger in some places. And then we have makkah. It's mokah, and it means depression. She's a daughter. Pressed down, fastened, worn out, oppressed. That's what that word means. Not a good name. Somebody's beat down. Somebody that's been pressed. All right? Depression. Mokah. Page 591. We're in the 23rd chapter of the book of Genesis. 23. You want to put it right here? Is this good enough? All right, good enough for tonight? Well, we'll start there at 23 in verse 1. Are we going to have well, we can have a class next week. I think if the week after that we can't have a class. They won't let us.
It's Christmas.
Christmas.
Come on, man. Christmas.
All right. 12, and what is the date? 11? 12, 11, 11, huh? All right, there's where we'll start next week. Thank you for your attention. I wish we'd have had more here tonight. We've got a bunch of people absent, so pray for them. Pray for all of our absentees. All right? And let's have a word of prayer. And please remember the prayer request.